This perp back with another video, and I just got done watching Lovecraft Country Season 1, Episode 3. And I gotta say, after last week's episode, it was cool to see this episode. Last week's episode definitely threw a lot of information at people. A lot of it went over people's heads, but this one definitely, I feel like, is more up people's alley, especially the character that they focused on. I'm kind of glad that they focused on this character. This is a very Letty centric episode. This was all about Letty, and just we get a little bit more information about her and just everything between her and her sister. And she just bought this new house. 3 weeks went by, which was kind of a weird time skip. It kind of came out of nowhere a little bit, but things have definitely changed, especially for Atticus and his family. His aunt's kind of bent out of the shape of George's passing. A lot of things that now Atticus has to pretty much put on his shoulders and, step up and be the man. So he goes and visits, Letty, to make sure she's settling in. And this is the one thing that makes this whole entire show interesting. The racial tension between in this universe, because this takes place years ago, and there's still that racist tension. People are not happy about Letty moving in, but she really doesn't give a fuck. And who else don't give a fuck is the ghosts that are haunting this house. And they really make their presence known very earlier on in the episode. It's a very slow burn episode, but it's paced really well as these ghosts start to kind of mess with Letty and just mess with her head a little bit. And as should angry spirit, if you move into their house, they're going to feel some type of way. But while this whole entire, welcome home type of party is going on, everybody's enjoying themselves. The kids are sitting around playing with a Ouija board. And it's interesting that, George has kind of contacted the kids, which leads me to think that maybe George will still play a huge part as like a spirit to kind of guide Atticus through all this. I don't know what they're planning to do with Atticus's aunt, with this item that she found. It's just a lot of interesting moving parts that are happening throughout this episode. They give you a lot of clues, a lot of hints, but they don't tell you too much. But that's a good thing to me. You don't want to give out all your surprises, and then when you get to that part, that kind of magic is gone. But anyways, another thing I appreciate in this episode that they've been teasing since this kind of series started is Atticus and Letty's kind of love interest thing going on. They've been teasing it. They finally go through with it. Letty loses her virginity to Atticus in this whole entire, episode, which is kind of odd, I guess, because it's not 2020 where, chicks out here are losing their virginity at like fucking 20 and shit. Like, that doesn't happen anymore. So it was kind of weird seeing that. But I like that they are exploring that. Now, this being a Letty-centric episode, this was a really standout scene where the white people that have been just kind of causing her trouble for moving in have a burning cross in front of her lawn, and she just snaps and just starts to take out her anger and rage out on these white dudes' cars and just starts to smash them up. She ends up in the back of a paddy wagon, and the one cop really gives her more information about the house that that this dude used to experiment on black people and stuff, and those 8 bodies are pretty much still trapped at the bottom of the house, in the basement of the house and whatnot. And this leads Letty to kind of explore more, and what she finds is terrifying, that like there's these angry spirits that are just living underneath her house. Meanwhile, we get a scene of Letty and her sister talking, and Letty lets her sister know that she's been lying to her about the money that her mom left her all the money and left her absolutely nothing. And this kind of makes a rift between these two. I'm wondering how that's going to fix itself. Atticus is making sure Letty's okay and comforting her, and making sure she's okay. On the other side of things, you have Atticus's father trying to talk to his aunt, and I feel like his aunt is going to get involved somehow. His dad's going to let her know the whole entire truth, but we're just going to wait and see. So going back to Atticus and Letty, they end up getting like this witch doctor to kind of get rid of these spirits, but this ends up going completely left as they call on these spirits and they're nothing to play with. They're kind of pissed that they're even getting messed with. And while this is all going on, you have 3 white dudes trying to break into the house to pretty much do harm to these characters. But karma is a bitch, and then the spirits kind of help them out, and they're able to pretty much let these spirits rest. They're able to accomplish that goal of like letting these spirits like pretty much freeing these spirits, I should say. Now that Letty could just live in her house in peace and all the spirits could be at peace, Atticus runs into Christina, which we haven't seen her since the last episode, and Atticus tries to blow her head off, and he stopped in his tracks because Christina is a very, very powerful magic user. She's a very powerful character, and she wants Atticus's help to find these pages of Adam or something like that. They're locked up in a safe, so that has to be a clue to more things to come down the line. I have no idea, but this was a really, really solid episode. I really enjoyed everything from Letty to her sister to this ending right now, because it's going to be interesting to see what side Christina is really playing. Is she on Atticus' side, or is she just trying to do this for her own self? And also, could they possibly be teasing a love triangle between Atticus, Christina, and Letty? Let me know how you guys feel about that. Let me know how you guys feel about this whole entire episode as a whole. Till next week, I'm out. Peace.